is my 2001 BMW 325i. But hold up, let's go start from the beginning. Okay, so about 3 years ago, my friend had this car in his yard ready to be scrapped for obvious reasons. I decided I wanted to save it and found out the throwout bearing had exploded, making the clutch not work. So we did a clutch in the middle of the field with some expert machining.
Infinito, Tren.
The clutch fork was also damaged, but we fixed that with a little bit of welding and it was good enough. I then felt like I wanted to make it a bit more legit, so I found a Chevy Colorado ready to get scrapped and cut the back of the cab off. I forgot to mention that at this point I didn't have a key for it and got one made after putting a new clutch in, and it didn't run after that. But it needed a fuel pump, and after that it ran pretty bad. But I ended up sending it anyways. So at this point, I was not trying to spend any money and recycled the Kia's roof to make some side panels so I could be somewhat insulated, as well as welded parts of a Razor roll cage in, and that's how the car was for a decent amount of time. Then about a year ago, I thought that I could ride the clout train and get some traction on this channel by turning this into an RV, and that went about as well as you would think. I will say, cool part was that Max Peating Rods sent me some coilovers that I installed, and that brings us to current day, kinda. I think this was like 8 months ago. All I do know is I wasn't having a good time. At this point, the most logical thing to do was clearly to weld the diff. So started by cleaning the diff inside and out, and then after it was welded up and resealed, it's time to put it back in.
Alright, let's do it.
We were being responsible and doing some figure eights to break in the diff so we could then change the fluid before beating on it.
Gotta get that nice shot of the dyno.
I had scored at the junkyard and got some dyno and strut bars for about $100 and installed them, hoping they would help hold this thing together in the time being. That brings us to current times. Okay, so I have kind of a mess over here because when this project gone through like several stages of me caring about it, and I finally actually care about it and really would love to see this finished how I imagine it and be able to drive it and use it how I want. With that in mind, I don't really have a plan. I just know I want to bring this out so that it's flush. I want to cut this, weld that, and there's really no better way to do it other than just to start cutting and welding. So what's gonna feel like only a few minutes for you is probably a day, 2 days, I don't know, hours and hours of my time. So enjoy it. I decided that my first step was to undo all my previous garbage and replace all the thin Kia metal with brand new sheet metal.
Round one.
It's not the nicest or neatest, but I will say that it's 100 times better than what was there previously. And seeing the before and after really shows how big of a difference it is. Repeating on the other side was easier since I had saved all the templates I had made from the other side and just flipped them around. I just want to take a second to thank anybody who has donated over the life of this channel. You guys are amazing. I always appreciate you. I just want to mention how much of this process I didn't film and also left out. So if you're thinking about doing something similar, just keep in mind that this is an insane amount of work. And everything looks a little bit easier when it's time-lapsed and cut and made look all nice. I definitely spent hours, like look at the sky. Look at how long I was spending just sanding down these seams. Just keep it in mind. Just keep it in mind. Okay, now that all my previous sins have been fixed, I think it turned out pretty good. A little bit of body filler. And honestly, I think it's gonna look pretty decent. I thought about putting like Z4 signals in it, but I think it's gonna look tacky. As if this whole thing doesn't look tacky. Okay, so the next step, I've been trying to figure out the best way to do this. I have some more sins to fix because I welded in a roll cage from something else and just kind of welded it straight on instead of building plates. So the whole thing was a mess. I didn't take this thing very seriously in the beginning. It was just kind of like whatever. So I need to patch those holes. And then the next thing will be connecting the actual truck section, the back of the truck to the bottom, connecting the bottom portion of the truck back to the unibody. And it's got this like scaffolding style bumps over it, and it's gonna be too much work to match that and extend it versus I just cut all of the scaffolding out and put sheet metal and then weld it straight on there. So that is what I'm going to do. Then we just have a matter of making some little pieces, and then the cab portion of this is finished. And I've put a lot of time and effort into trying to figure out how to design the bed. I mean, I've been looking at how body on frame trucks do flatbeds. So that will be my next challenge. It's been giving me quite a bit of headache because I want this thing to be strong enough to put a motorcycle on and an engine, but more of a motorcycle. Engine I'm not too worried about because the weight of the engine will probably be like more here. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just want this truck bed to be functional. That's the whole point of this build. I want a very functional little ute that I can get decent gas mileage, slide around, maybe not, and it be the size of a car, you know? I don't, and for most of the truck things that I do, I don't really need a truck, you know? So let's get back to it. More welding, more grinding. Never ends. Okie dokie. This, you hear that? You hear that? That's welded together. That's like one solid piece now. That's a whole cabin right there. With that said, we need to make the actual bed portion. And I've been doing a lot of research on how other people built flatbeds for trucks, of course. It seems like the strongest way is to run right along the frame rails and then do pieces on top. But for me, that's a tough one because it's going to increase the height a little too close to the window, because I would like a little bit of gap, and of course I'm going to build a protector, but it just adds a level of difficulty. So I just don't think I could do it that way, even though I would like this to be as strong as possible. So we're going to do these two slats, support them straight on the frame rail, and then we're going to do one attached to the cabin that I will weld to the cabin, as well as support to the bottom. Then do one at the back of the wheel well and one at the front of the wheel well that will run parallel, as well as down and welded wherever I can weld it, because this is where most of the weight is going to sit. If I put an engine on here, it's going to sit right here in the center. And then do one at the very back and support it and build another structure that's going to come off of the bumper mounts. With that, yeah, I don't know. Let's just get to it.
Okay, so I need a way to protect the window, and obviously I'm gonna weld like a support, as like you see on other flatbed trucks. The only issue is I can't remove my bed. So, I mean, in theory you could. Very difficult though. So I need to be able to access the back window. For some reason it never breaks. And then I also need to be able to weld the back of this cage. So I made this piece. I'm gonna start with this tubing that I can easily bolt. And then whenever I'm finished welding the whole thing, I should be able to just take up the entire support and change the window, or, you know, I mean, even to paint it, I'm gonna need to do it to paint it. So this is taking me longer than I'd liked. But look at it, it looks cool, doesn't it? My welds could have came out a little nicer, but.
Alone, wasting hours on my phone. I'm ready to go now. On my way. I won't let fear hold me.
So this thing's turning out pretty cool. It definitely feels very strong, and I haven't even welded the diamond plate on. I was pondering in my sleep last night, since this is going to be mainly used to pick up motorcycles and I mean engines, whatever else, I thought about the fact that it's just going to be me most of the time, and loading a motorcycle on any kind of truck bed by yourself is not a good time, especially broken, decrepit ones that I'd be getting. So I went to Harbor Freight this morning and I got a 2,000-pound winch that I'm going to mount on the front so that I can have some assistance and moving it up. On moving motorcycles onto this, I'll get a decent sized ramp that folds and I can strap down afterwards. And then getting any kind of motorcycle, flat tires, whatever, should be fairly easy. I just gotta be really, you know, safe about it. And I also ordered some taillights off of Amazon that we're gonna install. They're just universal trailer lights. I think they'll look good. They'll do the job. And they'll have to make a custom license plate mount. Anyways, yeah, let's finish the window protector, weld up a hitch mount, cut out this metal so that I know it fits all nice. And then I think I'm gonna have to weld the support in here because I'm gonna have to weld the diamond plate together. And it'd just be nice to have a little extra support right here. Yeah, I don't know guys, we'll find out. Bear with me.
Chico Kumera, Neko Chipomera, Sadara Kumera, Dati Chico Omera, Seiko Chipomera, Neko Chipomera, Sadara Kumera, Davichi Somera. Pull up to the party, pull up late, pull up to the party, pull up rich, bring the energy, bring the hit, put up the sauce, match my vibe. Pull up to the party, pull up late, pull up to the party, pull up rich. Bring the energy, bring the heat, pull up for the sauce. Match my vibe. Girl, must it baby? Girl, must it you can love me, you can never hate me. I'm so chill like a little baby. I'm so chill when she call me baby. When she call me baby, get down on the dance floor. What you waiting for? Like a ZISO, like a that do. Like a ZISO, like a that do.
Okay, so it's been 2 weeks since I've touched this car. I'm a little tired of welding, I'm gonna be honest. It's a little hot out and this thing runs like absolute garbage. I have some used parts that I'm gonna throw on this for now just to get it running better and to fix a lot of the broken engine mounts and stuff. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so one of the main problems I've had with this thing is primarily that it sat outside forever without a hood, so everything is very, very fragile on this whole thing. I'm gonna try my best to only change out some things that are 100% needed to be changed. And I did get some new parts. So we're gonna throw a new thermostat, water pump, and some fresh coolant at it. I will probably do an oil change because I think I've only ever done one oil change on this thing, and it's been a very hard life. Poor car, man. I'm finally giving it a little bit of love. So for now, let's just get a couple things taken care of. The car still didn't run well, and I assumed in advance that I was going to have problems with the intake manifold and had been saving a low mileage one to put on for the time being and put it on there. Next step was to wire up the lights as well as to weld hook points all over the bed. Then I was going to paint it, but unfortunately it rained and caused some of the bed to rust. But after all that work, here was the final result. Also, I just want to make it clear that this thing is nowhere near finished, but I needed it to be workable as I used it to move, as well as pick up 2 bikes for the channel. So if you're interested, stick around, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you watching, and as always, I hope to see you at the next one.